Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Mike Stallings. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at Capital Distribution. And we wanted to do a special Saturday afternoon webinar for everyone to, I know we get pretty busy during the week and it's tough to find time to come on and actually learn about something new and learn about some of the solutions that we offer here, and also this exciting new partner program. So I wanted to kind of give you a little background on who we are and what we do. And we've been in business since 2016. We focus primarily on partnering with plumbers to bring our solutions to their clients, but also sell direct, focusing, we're not here to sell P-traps and supply lines. We try to find solutions out there that actually help people and help institutions and help homeowners either become more efficient from an energy standpoint, or save money on water and sewer, or just make their lives easier. And today, we're going to talk about one of those solutions, the Smart Valve, and also how we've created a new exciting program to bring that to you. I just lost my camera there for a second. To bring that solution to your clients and how we provide the support to do that. So this is our website, getsmartvalve.com. As you can see here, we're been in business since 2015. There's a lot of interesting different products on there as well. So when you get a chance, check it out. We just redid it about a year ago. We redid the whole website and now made it easier, especially as plumbing professionals. You can go right to the plumber section and see only what pertains to you, which I think is a key factor from a time saving point anyway. You don't want to be clicking on things that aren't going to make sense for you. So when you get a chance, check that out as well, getsmartvalve.com. So before anybody on here even thinks about joining any type of partner program, these are some of the core questions you probably are thinking about already and want answered before you even consider coming on to any program with us. Does the program provide a need, or is there a need for the solution at hand, and or does it solve a problem? What is the solution? How do we help you? And most importantly, even though I listed it last year, is what does this mean for your business? Obviously, if it doesn't make sense for your business, it's not going to be something you're going to partake in. We're going to get to the premium plumber partnership, but there's 4 core values to it. Number 1, it's going to boost your revenue. Number 2, it's going to make you become a hero to your current and potentially new clients that you could pick up as a result from it. It's going to fill in the gaps in your schedule, and only thing you're going to have to worry about is the installation. We're going to handle every other aspect of this, and I'll explain a lot more about it as we move on this afternoon. So let's talk about the first part of this. Is there a need, or does it solve a problem? And the problem that we're talking about today is the rising cost of water and sewer. And we use this graph in almost every one of our presentations and webinars and live and LinkedIn lives. And because it's a very telling graph. And if we extended this a little bit, it's actually gone up even higher. It's closer to 90% in terms of increase since 2009. This particular graph is showing a 70% increase over 10 years. And that's typically how much water and sewer has gone up. On average, we conservatively, when we do our presentations and our evaluations of properties, we use 5% per year for the cost of water and sewer increasing. And in reality, it averages probably more like 7 or 8, especially recently. So, I mean, as you see, compared to every other item out there, it's gone up nearly triple. So, and when the new numbers come in, I think you're even going to see, these numbers go significantly higher than what they're showing here. So some of the key facts: 80% since 2010 versus 20% for other expenses. They now make up nearly 30% of commercial utility costs. So it's becoming, in the past, the water sewer was kind of an afterthought for commercial properties. unless you were talking about something that utilized mostly water, such as like a food processing plant or like a car wash or a laundromat. But most commercial properties were only worried about electric, and now this is becoming a bigger problem because it's taking up a bigger portion of their budget. Um, Basically, in 2020, water costs went up 4%, sewer went up 8%. 2022 was about 7% overall for both, and it was over 5% in 2021. Even with COVID, you would think that the rates wouldn't go up, but they still hit 5%. Another important line on here I think is very telling, which is kind of where we get to about staying ahead of the curve, meaning that, if you're spending $10,000 a month on water and sewer, that's going to be close to $18,000 a month within 10 years. So the same usage is going to cost you nearly double over the next 10 years if you don't take some steps to rectify that. So we know there's a problem now. We know that the cost of water and sewer is becoming astronomical. So is there a solution out there that can make sense? And yes, there are many good practices, obviously, and you guys and girls would know this already in terms of, lowering your water and sewer bill, maintaining your equipment, obviously, use low flow toilets, aerators, low flow shower heads. There's a lot of ways that you can do that, but this actually is revolutionary because saving water is actually hard. Normally if you need 5 gallons of water, you're going to need 5 gallons of water. The only way you kind of save on that is, like we mentioned, if you take a 2.5 gallon shower head and make it a 1.5, and you take the same time shower, yeah, you're going to use less water, and then obviously your sewer is going to go down as well. But in general, as a general rule of thumb, saving water and sewer, or saving water usage, is very difficult. If you think about all the things we use water for, normally you need it. You fill up your pot to cook the pasta at night. You got to. That's going to be the same amount of water no matter what. You wash your hands. Yeah, you might be able to shrink that down a little bit if you wash them a little less. But for the most part, when we need water, we need it. And this is why which separates the smart valve from anything else out there, because the focus is not on, there will be a reduction in consumption, but the smart valve is a revolutionary solution because it's focusing on making sure the customer's paying what they're supposed to be paying. And it's a USA made device. It's available in sizes from 3/4 inch up to 12 inch. So both residential and commercial. Can be installed horizontally or vertically, as you can see here from the pictures. Comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, which I think is important. We stand behind it, and knock on wood, I always do this. We haven't had a return in over 7 years. So knock on wood, we keep that going. But people are generally happy with their results, and not everybody's going to save 30%, as some people have, but generally it's a very solid addition to their home or their commercial property because it works. That's the first thing. If it didn't work, I don't think we'd still be selling it after 8 years here. So as I mentioned, it is a water saving device to a degree, but it's more importantly a money saving device. And what it's doing essentially is correcting a mistake that the meter is making. And it's that the meters typically don't distinguish between water and air. They only count volume. And on top of that, anytime you get a drop in pressure, you run the risk of overspinning the meter as well. So it's correcting those two things primarily, but it's also correcting on the consumption slightly, which I'll explain in a second as well. So what the smart valve essentially is doing is it's acting like a toll booth. It's going to maintain the pressure at the meter. And I can hear the call. I'm sure I'm going to get a comment here any second. Well, that sounds like a PRV. Well, no, because a PRV is, as you know, it's going to reduce the pressure, and then it's going to head out to the home or to the property, down to whatever you have it set to. The smart valve is actually maintaining the incoming pressure from the street at the meter. So what happens normally, and you guys probably all know this, but I'm just going to kind of recap everything here, is you typically, let's say you have 80 psi coming into a property, whether it's residential or commercial property, and you get a demand. And what happens is right now is the pressure drops at the meter. When the pressure drops at the meter, you're allowing pockets of air to expand. They're no longer tiny, and they are registering on that meter. And you're also running the risk of chaos happening in the line. If you have picture an apartment complex at 6 o'clock in the morning when everybody's showering and you have a high demand, you very well could get a rush on the water and overspin that meter. So what the smart valve is doing is saying, hey, between it and the meter, and by the way, it's installed on the user side, as you can see from the pictures here, after the meter upstream, it's going to maintain that 80 psi or whatever its incoming is coming from the street at the meter, and then there'll be a drop off afterwards. So when you maintain that pressure, you're allowing for a nice laminar flow through the meter. The meter spins normally, and any pockets of air that are present in the line, which there are remain compressed. So they're very tiny. And when they pass through the meter, they don't register. And as a result of that, and actually, let me go through this slide first. I forgot about this slide here, but kind of just what I just said. It maintains a pressurized column of water upstream past the water meter, and it prevents the pressure drop. It's also going to eliminate the turbulence and overspinning in the meter, and it keeps the flow rate within the range of the meter was designed to accurately operate, which is another important part of that. You want the water flowing through the way it should be and not overspinning the meter. So some of the key points and the results we've seen over the last and over the last 7 or 8 years now, over 70% of our users save at least 20% on their water and sewer usage, and over 98% save at least 10%. USA made. The other key factor with this, especially for commercial installations, the return on investment is usually less than a year, and a lot of times that also includes the installation costs as well. So that's a very key selling point, because it's almost like me walking up to you and saying, hey, Mr. Smith, if you hand me $100 today, over the next 10 years, I'm going to hand you back somewhere between $500 and $1,500. That's a pretty good investment. You may not get your money back in a year. It might take 2 years. It might even take 3, which, especially in a residential side, because the bills are so much less, but you're going to get your money back and you're going to have a nice return on investment. Less than 14 out of 25,000 sold. I think that's pretty telling as well. It's less than 0.1%. It's approved in Massachusetts and New York City, which anybody who is familiar with those guidelines from the plumbing code knows that that's a challenge in itself. And trust, I was a big part of getting it approved in New York City, and it was not an easy task. It was probably 100 emails and 6 to 8 months of back and forth. So it also has the NSF and ANSI certifications for potable water. The other key part of this device is it's very customizable because it's externally adjustable. So both pre-install, post-install, it can be adjusted at any time without shutting the water off. And that's the key too, because we all know, number one, every building or every home is different. There's different conditions in each building. Number two, those conditions can change very easily. You could have, for example, a apartment complex that has 60% occupancy, and they go with a smart valve and they get it installed, and we fine tune it to the right point. And then all of a sudden they're at 98% occupancy. Well, you might have to reduce that a little bit now, because now the conditions have changed in the building. So that's very important, that it can be adjusted without doing a shutdown again on the building if conditions change. Other than that, though, it's very much a set it and forget it product. Once it's installed and it gets calibrated to that particular building, there's no maintenance required. There's no additional work. It is removable and reusable. So if you have a homeowner that has concerns about, well, I might be moving in 2 years, why would I get this now? Well, you can take it with you and put it on your new property. So the other big thing, which I like to stand behind, in the last 5 years, the lowest reported total we've gotten was 14% savings, and the highest was almost 60%. Our average has been about 23%. So we tell folks most users of this are going to save somewhere between 15 and 25%. And that's generally probably 80% of our customers fall into that range. So where can we implement this application? You have tons of opportunities. Obviously, residential homes, but think even on the small side, car washes, laundromats, and then your restaurant, bars, even nail salons. And we sold a few in there. And that's a funny story I'll tell you guys at some point. But then you get your mid-tier ones like your hotels and school districts, um, bakeries, food processing plants, office buildings, hospitals. I mean, the list is on and on. And, we always are able to do a free evaluation ahead of time so we know if it makes sense. And it's really only a little bit of information to get there, which I'll get into a little bit more after. Some of the larger corporations in the country, and there's many more than this, we just kind of put a few up here so you can see this is starting to take off on a national level. Um, so yeah, we're picking up steam with this because it works, and that's the key. People want something that's going to give them results, and if it's putting money back in their pocket and helping them stay ahead of the curve, yeah, it's going to catch on nationally, and it's going to continue. It's definitely picking up traction. Couple of case studies here just to give you an idea. This was on the left here. This was an office building in Texas, and it was a 6-inch valve, and they ended up saving about 33%. And we have plenty of these on our website, and also we actually have an interactive presentation I can send, and I will send to each of you at the end of this, so you can see a little bit more about the smart valve. And it's very simple to use. It's only me talking for a couple minutes, and then the rest you go where you want to go. You can see videos to pictures. Everything is on there, but it lets you go where you want to go, so you don't have to listen to me for an hour like you are today. And on the right here was another complex in Texas also, where there was a 4-inch line and also a 2-inch irrigation line. On the 4-inch, I believe it was 39% savings, and on the 2-inch, it was almost 40% savings. So that was pretty incredible, actually. That those results there. So sorry, I had to click something there. This is from one of our commercial property managers out in Michigan. They did a pilot and purchased a 4-inch smart valve for one of their high-rise apartments, and the savings. Their initial bill was between 8 and 13,000 on average. It ranged obviously month to month. Their reduction was well over 50%. As you can see, they went down to 2,000 to 4,000 per month, and they ended up purchasing 50 other ones afterwards. We did 50 other smart valves in there, and the results actually came back during COVID, where during COVID for those on average, their usage was they had a slight decrease of 1%. And they were a little upset at first. And I said, well, wait a minute. We're right in the middle of COVID. And if everybody remembers back in 2020, we had lockdowns and everybody was working from home and nobody was leaving. I said, listen, if you're at 1% reduction with everybody now spending an extra 8 to 12 hours at home every day and using water all day, I said, that's incredible. After we backed everything out, we realized and showed them that in reality, they were saving about 20 to 25%. Because normally those people were at work for 8 to 10 hours a day or longer, going out to eat, so on, going away on vacation. Now we're home. So yeah, that was pretty incredible. So they should be really thrilled, and they eventually saw it our way. But this is important too, because these are two of our plumbers that have been on our programs. These are two testimonials. And again, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to back my, that won't work because you can't hear me, but yeah. So this gives you an idea of how our plumbing partners love our programs, and I can send these to you as well. This will be part of the presentation. If you can't read these, I know it's a little small, but we have plenty of these as well. We have multiple plumbers who have been very happy on our programs and happy to send these to anybody who's interested as well. So also, one of the key things that we do here is we have a financing program. And why is this important? Whenever you're talking to different properties, especially commercial properties, we're able to finance the valve where the big thing is always budgets, right? Well, we didn't put it in our budget, so we'll have to wait the next year. Well, that's why wait? We can finance it, and we have multiple programs. One of our big ones is that we have a 0% APR for 24 months. We also have a program where they don't pay they pay $33 a month for 6 months. And then we also have your standard 1 to 7 year loan, depending on the amount. So yeah, I mean, this is just another tool that we have that we've utilized to help people get this solution in their property sooner than later. So this was actually an example, and this is why it's so important, because we're able to show this to a client, and we can usually finance the installation costs, your costs as well, for them. So we use this as an example. This was a 4-inch line that was approximately $10,000 for the smart valve, $3,000 installation cost. So we financed 13,000 at 0% for 24 months. And if their average water sewer bill was $6,000 a month. So what this showed is that, okay, you're paying 542 a month for 24 months to finance the 13,000 because it's 0% APR. They still make almost two at 10% savings, which was on the low end, obviously, and the very low end. They're still making a net profit of $2,000 for the first 2 years without putting a dime out for this thing. And then their total savings for the next 8 years was over $75,000. So they're saving $77,000 over 10 years without shelling out a dime. And we're able to show this for any client, any potential client of yours. We're basically paying people to put this in. So it's just a matter of people learning about it and hearing about it. And that's what we're slowly and surely trying to do. And that's part of the reason why we partner up with you guys as well, so we can get this out there faster. So how do we help you if you decide to come on one of our programs? This is a key part of our presentation today. So I really want to touch on this. So just for start, today the main thing is we're going to talk about the Platinum Plumber program, but we also have 3 other programs I want to touch on briefly that were actually our programs before we created this one about 6 months ago. So our starter program, you verify you're a plumber, we give you a discount for any smart valves you want to purchase. Our Premier program, you get a larger discount, plus we do free evaluations for you for your commercial clients. And our VIP program, we offer our largest discount, plus we offer referrals for installs, and you get the highest level of support. So those are the basics. I'm going to go into these in a little more detail shortly. But right now I want to talk about our newest program, the partnership program. And as I mentioned earlier, the 4 core values is we're going to help you boost your revenue. We're going to make you become a hero to your current and new clients. We're going to help fill in those gaps in the schedule. And I'm going to explain all this, obviously. And obviously, the last part, which we mentioned before, is all you have to worry about is the installation. We're going to take care of the rest. So we have multiple programs, as I mentioned. And there's actually, this new program has 2 tiers to it, which I'll explain in a second also. So we can have, depending on which program you choose, we have programs where there's no cost, a minimal cost, or an annual cost to suit your ambitions. We're going to show you a path to increase your gross revenue by 20% or more. And as I mentioned, this new Platinum program has 2 options. One has no upfront cost and no money out of pocket ever. And the second one is a little more ambitious that I'll also touch on in the end as well. So how are we going to make you become a hero? We're going to provide you with a quantified solution to the rising cost of water and sewer, something not everybody's going to have at their fingertips. We're going to show you how to gain clients by solving this issue that maybe their competitor can't. And you're also going to get free client referrals. If we're partnered up in your area and we have a potential sale to a customer for a smart valve, guess who we're going to call to install it? Well, hey, I have Joe the plumber over here. He's put these in before. Why don't I put you in touch with you? Or better yet, if you're on one of our programs, why don't I quote you a price right now for it? And I can explain all that as well as we go along here. But that's the value and how we help you become a hero, because we're going to increase your exposure to potentially new clients and make you a hero with your current ones as well. So every client of ours and every client of yours potentially gets a free in-depth analysis to determine the return on investment. And this is one of our most powerful graphics, because what we're showing here is not only the savings over time, over the next 10 years, but also how their water sewer cost is going to go up on a conservative level. As you can see there, it goes from $100,000 a year to $155,000 a year at just 5%. But we also show the accumulated savings, which is powerful, but we show what we like to call the good, the great, the extraordinary result. The 10% being good, 20% being great, 30% being extraordinary. And you can see the numbers, and we highlight the 20% because that's our average savings. But you can see the numbers here are pretty impressive. How much they're going to save over time. Going to the next part of the core properties, filling in the gaps in your schedule. Now, I know a lot of people on this call are very busy all the time, which is why we're doing a call on a Saturday, because it's hard to get people during the week. So what's the beauty of our Premier program, or I should say our Premier Partnership program, is that we're going to schedule these when you want us to, when you want them installed. So we all know that as busy as you guys all are, and girls, as you all are, you always have that one day where it's a little slow and you would love to have a job to plug in there. All right. So we could always set this up where, you tell us what day looks slow for you over the next week or two, and we'll schedule from then. You could schedule this for the next week. You could schedule this a month out, whatever you want. I mean, you're in control of that. So it's not like an urgent situation where they need this in right now or you need to go to a house because the water heater is leaking, or you have a property with a burst in their 4-inch line that's leaking water everywhere. Those are emergency calls. You have to go to them right away. You need to be there sooner than later. You'll maximize your productivity because you're going to eliminate the downtime, like I mentioned, that one day where instead of, again, it's all relative to how many trucks and employees you have that are on the road, but you might have that day where you have 3 jobs scheduled when normally you have 6. And what do? You've got guys working for you, or even if you're a sole proprietor, and what do you do for when you're short? You don't. Time is money. So this is a good gap filler for that, because it's not an urgent call, and you can basically schedule it where it makes sense for you. And you can also decide on the number of installers for the install for each install as well. So, we make recommendations based on sizing, usually, up to 2 inches. One guy can do it, but you can have 2 if you want, or if for the mid-size, 3, 4-inch, up to 6-inch, you might have 2 guys at least, sometimes 3. And then the large ones, definitely 3, just to be on the safe side. So, because this is not and I don't want to say it's not essential, because it is. I think it's a very essential part for any property. You want to make sure you're paying what you should be paying for water and sewer. But because it's not an emergency type situation, you could schedule these, or we can schedule these for you, weeks out, months out. So it's just it'll help you fill in those downtimes. Now comes the core part of this program. We handle every aspect of the smart valve for your clients, meaning you don't have to do a thing. We're going to market this to them. We're going to address all their questions and concerns. We're going to assess and evaluate their property for them to see if the smart valve is a good fit. We're going to gather all the relevant pictures and the data from them so we can do the evaluation. We're going to then create a custom proposal and forward it to them, and then close it. We're going to make the sale for you. Only thing that happens next is you collect the payment and install it, and that's it. So we're going to handle every aspect of this for you. We're only going to get compensated if we make a sale under the starter program that I'm going to go into in a second. We're going to handle every aspect of this for you, because you know what? You guys are too busy, and you don't have the time to learn to, I hear this all the time. I have got called, well, I don't have time to learn about this smart valve thing, or I don't have time to bring this up to my customers. I'm too busy. Good. That's great. I'm glad to hear you're busy. We're the ones that do this day in and day out. So let's put our best foot forward. Let's put myself and my team in front of your clients to talk to them about the smart valve, educate them on it, see if their property makes sense for them to have the solution. And then from there, we're going to close it. You're going to collect a deposit. You're going to get the smart valve. You're going to go out and install it. You're going to collect the balance. And that's it. So how does this program work? So this is the starter. Actually, let me back up. So to explain the 3 other programs we have besides the one I just mentioned. Starter program, you confirm you're a plumber, you receive a 10% discount on the smart valve. Once you reach $2,500 or more in spending, your discount increases to 15%. And you also are eligible to receive the custom proposals for your commercial clients. Our VIP program, and by the way, this has nothing to do with us selling your clients. This is our other programs. I just want to recap that quickly. You get a 20% discount on under the VIP program, bulk discounts. We have a rebate program. We offer the highest level of support. We're not actually selling your clients on this program, but this is more for guys that see the value in this, want the bigger discount, and that costs $9.99 a year to be on that program, which is grandfathered in, by the way. That price will never change for as long as you stay on the program. Going back to the newest program that I mentioned, where we actually market and sell to your clients. So as I said before, there's no upfront cost. We do the marketing, the evaluation, we sell, schedule your clients if you want. Once they're scheduled, you're going to receive a deposit from them, and you can decide. And all this is very customized to your liking. Everything from how much you want to charge for the installation, all the way to the, and everything that goes with that. How many hours you want to charge for, how much do you want to build in for travel time? How much do you want to mark up your equipment, including the smart valve? How much, how many people do you want to send there? And then how much of a deposit do you want to take? All these factors, and your hourly rate, of course. So all these factors come into play, and we do this ahead of time. So we know, and usually it's me on the phone, by the way, for commercial clients. I like to take all of them and evaluate all of them myself and close them for you guys. But I do have a team of 3 guys also that can help out with this. So, but long story short, once we schedule the job for you and they sign off on it, they're going to send you a deposit for whether it's 50%, 60%, whatever you're comfortable with. This is how we get paid. So we're going to then invoice you for the smart valve at a 20% discount. And then we're going to take 10% of the job price. That's our fee for closing the deal for you. So again, you're not out of pocket anything here. You haven't paid us anything to do all this marketing to your clients and promote this solution to them. The only time you're going to pay is if we come through and we close the deal. From there, you're going to pay us for the smart valve and then 10% of the job price. Once we do that, once that's handled, we ship you the smart valve. You go out, install it. You collect the balance from your customer. And again, so you're never out a dime. All it is getting us set up with your customers. That's all it is. Now, this part of this program as well is, let's say we call one of your customers and they say, well, you know what, Mike, I like the smart valve. We're going to get it, but we're going to self-install it. Or, we don't use Joe's Plumbing anymore. We have our own plumber now that's local. We're going to use him to do this. Okay. We're going to pay you, the plumber partner that's on this program, because it was your client. We're going to pay you 15% of the sales price for doing absolutely nothing. Because it was your client, we're going to pay you 15% if we sell them a valve and they don't use you for the installation. So we make sure that you're covered there too, because we want you protected. It's your customer. We're not trying to poach your customers. We want to be able to sell this as a complete installation with the valve. That's our goal. So that's our basic no upfront cost program. Our other program is a pay program where you pay an annual cost, and we do everything we said before, but there's some subtle differences here. More importantly, or most importantly, you get a bigger discount. You're getting 24% off on the smart valve as opposed to 20%. We're only going to take 6% of the job price for every job we close for you to install it. Your referral fee, if they use a different plumber, now goes to 18% instead of 15%. And lastly, for every valve we sell in your area, we're going to pay you 10%. So even if it's not your customer, if it is your customer, we're going to pay you 18%. If it's not your customer, if it's not on the list you sent us, and it's in your service area, and we're not able to get them to get you to install it for them, we're going to pay you 10%, even though you have nothing to do with it. Meaning that it's not your customer. We weren't able to get you installed. We're still going to pay you 10% of the sale because now we're a full-fledged partner in this program. The base cost is $59.99 for the year. That will vary depending on how large the areas are. So you're looking at about $500 a month for us to go forward this. But this is all about And by the way, we anticipate, we have plumbers on the starter program now, the no upfront cost one. We anticipate people to transition over to this usually. So I don't expect everybody to jump on this program right away, because you want to crawl before you walk, before you run. You want to see how, see the results. But it is a good time to get in on the ground floor. When we first started this program, it was a lower annual cost, but because of the popularity, we've increased it, because we're slowly bringing on more and more plumbers to come on this program. We started with 2. Now we're going to bring us up to 5, somewhere between 5 and 8. So we're going to have at least 3 openings to come on one of the programs. And if you get in on this program, this is a big deal. I mean, this is a chance to really make some money. And I'm going to show you the differences here in a second. So to give a comparison, if we have a client that we're selling a $10,000 smart valve to, and let's say your install cost is $5,000, under the no upfront costs program, it's $15,000 in revenue total. Your cost would be $8,000 on the smart valve. It's 20% off. We would collect $1,500, which is 10% of the job price. So you're going to make gross $5,500 on that deal. And if the client decides to self-install, we're going to pay you $1,500. Under the annual program, the one I just showed, same revenue, obviously. Your smart valve cost is less. You're only paying $7,600 for that. You're only paying us $900 for selling the job, and your gross margin is now $1,000 more. Plus, if they happen to self-install, you're going to get $1,800 instead of $1,500. And on top of that, think about it. This particular job, if this was somebody who was not your customer and decided to self-install, but they were just in the area, you would have gotten $1,000 referral fee for just for them being in the area. So there's definitely more perks, and I understand that there's a big upfront cost to going on this annual program. But once you feel confident with us, if you don't feel confident now, I understand that it's a big investment, but it will give you an opportunity to get in on the ground floor and really make some solid money on these deals. I mean, if you do the math here, this is a 4-inch valve here. If we're doing 1 valve a month, you're doubling up your investment. If we're selling 1 valve a month for you, that's 4-inch. You're making an extra $1,000 a month as opposed to paying $500 for the program. So that's really what it comes down to. Do you think that we can sell 1 4-inch valve every month? And I would say yes. I'm pretty confident of that. So how do you get on one of these programs? Our first step to this is, obviously, we want to have a discussion. We want to know what your business is like, what your goals are. We want to make sure that this is a good fit. We have a memorandum of understanding. It's a simple 1 to 2 page document, depending on which program you go on. And it basically just describes everything we talked about here today. We just want to make sure everything's transparent and everybody understands what they're getting into. It's, like I said, it's something, you wouldn't even need a lawyer to look at. You can certainly have your lawyer look at it, but it's nothing, it's no legalese really. It's just kind of a breakdown of everything, so everybody knows what they're going to be doing. From there, once that's signed off on, and if you're on, depending on if you're on the pay program or not pay, once the funds are collected, we would schedule a call and we're going to review the pricing with you. As I mentioned before, we want to, know how much you want to mark up each individual size in terms of the equipment and the extra equipment you're going to need to install it. Provide us with your contact email list. And again, a lot of this is what you feel comfortable with. In a perfect world, we would love for you to say, hey, these are my 10 best customers. Here's their names and contact numbers and the buildings they operate. Have someone call them right away. I think they'll be interested in this. That would be perfect. But we understand that, again, you may only want us to email them. We do ask that you send an introductory email introducing us as your marketing and sales arm for the smart valve, because that goes a long way. That really, the results certainly improve when, you email your customers and tell them that, hey, you're going to be contacted by Capital Distribution to talk about this new solution that's out on the market to save you money on water and sewer. You can also introduce us we can hold a webinar just for your clients, and you can invite them in, and we can kind of pitch this to them right through a webinar like this. From there, we begin marketing to your clientele through the email blast, We can do texting. We can do other, we can call. There's a lot of things. It's all on you, what you feel comfortable with. And easy way to get started is to go to our website and get smartvalve.com and go to the contact page. And there's a setup there to reach us regarding the programs. You can also go to the VIP page to see a little bit more about our base programs. I do have a couple questions here to review. First question was how much, this was from Lisa. How much are the valves? Well, they do range in price. Residential run between $300 and $450, minus your discount, of course. The commercial ones are definitely more expensive. They range anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to, I believe it's $37,000. And by the way, the 8-inch and above are actually stainless steel. The other ones are made of Astron. It's also double threaded up to 2 inches. So it's a double female threaded. So it's an easy installation there. 3-inch and above are flange, but for 3 and 4-inch, you have the Pro Press flange where you can go press the flange and make that an easier install. A lot of guys also from the commercial side, I forgot to mention this before, will pre-build these in-house before they go out and install. It actually brings us to the next question, or one of the questions on here as well, was the install time and so on. Installation time will vary, obviously, based on size. Your smaller ones up to 2-inch, typically I would say an hour or less because the install is pretty simple. And the biggest time thing is the actual shutdown. If there's no bypass present there, especially on the larger buildings, you could be sitting there for 4 hours, not 4 hours, but maybe a few hours to shut down, and then another hour or so to restart the building. So that's usually the biggest time waste of this, is waiting for the building to drain, or the lines to drain, I should say, not the building. So I would say, typically up to 2-inch is usually about an hour or less. 3-4-inch, especially with Pro Press, if you're utilizing the flange to press fitting, I would say 2 to 3 hours on average. Again, if you have a bypass, this shrinks this, if there's a bypass present, it shrinks this considerably. And then 6-inch and above, because you don't have the press option. I've seen 6-inch ones take, and I've been on site for many of these. I've seen 6-inch ones take, 5 hours, 6 hours. I mean, so it does vary. But I've also seen some take 3 or 4 hours. So it certainly varies. Let's see other questions we have here. Okay, so this is actually this is a good one here. So the question is, can we sell the smart valve and the job separately? Yes, we can sell your clients the smart valve directly and then quote them a price just for the extra equipment and to do the installation. So the answer to that question is yes. We can separate that. Some people don't want it all combined in one. They want to keep the valve separate from the installation costs and so on and so forth. That's fine. We can do that if that's the way you want us to market it, or if the client wants it that way too, we can do it as well. Let's see here. Lead time on the valves is typically usually we have them in stock. We don't keep the big ones in stock, obviously, but usually the smaller sizes we have a few laying around, especially residential. But even still, depending on where you are in the country, they ship from the West Coast if we don't have it here, but it's usually 3 or 4 days. If they're out of stock, depending on the size. I mean, we have a situation where we're going to need 6 8-inch valves very soon, and if they're out of stock, it takes a few months to get them. So that's the rare case. If you have a big job where you need multiple large valves, it could take a couple months, but normally I haven't seen them take more than a week or 2 tops. I would say 5 to 7 business days is a good rule of thumb, just to be safe. So we covered that install time, and I think that's all the questions we had. So I appreciate everyone coming on today. Thank you again for attending, and please reach out to us. You can reach me directly. Normally, I will pick up on option 1 there, the 201-690-6512.
anytime I can, I will pick that line up. That's for the smart valve. When you call us, as soon as you call, you'll get a prompt immediately, so you can press 1 for the smart valve or 2 for any other product. Again, getsmartvalve.com is the website. You can head there to see or sign up to come on one of our programs. And I think that's it. So I appreciate everyone coming on today again. Thank you. And we will also be sending a copy of this out to everybody who was here, so you have it. And appreciate you taking some time on a Saturday afternoon. And I hope to hear from you all very soon. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll talk again soon.